Ryan Garcia is going to be Devin's toughest fight on paper?
No. I think Lomachenko is always going to be the toughest fight. But I do think that Ryan has a good style to fight Devin. He's very reactive, he's very fast, he can punch. He's in his prime. It's a brilliant matchup. I think Ryan deserves a lot of credit and respect because he comes off, defeat against Gervonta, obviously a good win against Duarte, but no one's really, I think it shows really more about where Devin's at that people are willing to face him now. Because honestly, for a long time, people use the excuse of, where's the risk reward? It's a bit like Shakur. No one really wants to fight Shakur, but now Devin's become bigger. The money's there to fight Devin Haney, so people do it, and he's got the belt. So I think Ryan deserves a lot of respect for taking the fight.
Would you say there's a lot
assuming that Haney passes Ryan, both him and Gervonta will be free in the fall. Could we see something happen along that line?
I don't know. Sometimes, but Bill's leading the ship, and he's doing a great job, and we're just here to help Devin for this fight and see what happens after that. But I think that realistically, sometimes the beef between people can stop fights happening. I've seen it before. I've been at fault of that in the past, and obviously Bill and Gervonta are going at it. But sooner or later, that fight becomes so big that it happens. I think what you got to understand about Devin Haney is he's 25 years old. People talk about the face of boxing. This fight could be for the passing of the torch for the face of boxing in time. And two young guys in their prime both deserve a lot of credit. I know Devin will fight anyone. He's always been that way since we started looking after him in 2019. He wanted me to make the fight with Lomachenko in 2020, and he was chasing that genuinely. And Top Rank moved him up to franchise champion, and he became an email champion, as some of the critics called him. But look what he's done since. He's been unbelievable.
Is the pressure on Ryan Garcia, is it immense, just from the standpoint of he lost to Gervonta, now if he loses to Devin, then people will look at him and be like, eh.
That's why I think that Ryan deserves a lot of credit. Because if he loses to Devin Haney, he's in a pretty tough spot. He's moving up to 140, so this is his true weight class. There's no hydration clause, and Devin's really difficult to beat. It's not like you're in with a guy who's a bit limited and, you can find a way. Like, Devin's very tricky and very skillful. So, again, I think that if Ryan loses this fight, he's not in a great position, but he's also young. But we should be commending that rather than saying, oh, you're done if you finish. You should be looking to take the biggest challenges in the sport. And I think, he messaged me a while ago and said, I want to fight Devin Haney. I didn't really believe him, and then he moved on to Rowley, which was definitely the right decision for him. But when that fell through, he came back to Devin, and you have to give him a lot of respect for taking the fight.
Eddie, why was it the right decision to face Rowley at that moment when he messaged you and he moved on?
Because it's a lot easier fight. If you're representing a fighter, you want, sometimes the biggest reward for the biggest risk. But I would fight Rowley every day over Devin Haney. I mean, it's such an easier fight.
Bernard Hopkins. Bernard.
And I think that he when that fight became available, I was disappointed, but I didn't hate him for the decision. I felt like it was probably the right decision. But what impressed me most was when that fight did fall through, Ryan stepped up and went back to Devin and said, yeah, we're going to make it happen.
Did Broly end up beating Pitbull?
No, I think Pitbull wins that fight.
Eddie, why do you think all these fights falling apart on the PBC side? You've seen this.
Sorry?
I said, what do you think make of all these fights falling apart on the PBC side?
Yeah, I mean, it's great for us, great for DAZN, but the problem is we're in a good position now where we don't just need to bring any fighter, any big name, because it's the price of that fighter. The price has got to be right for the business. You get a lot of these guys. This is why people are so inactive. Look what inactivity did to Deontay Wilder, all because he wasn't prepared to take the money for an easy defense in Alabama, which he should have done. Terence Crawford should be fighting now in Omaha, even if it's against someone from the top 10. Stay relevant, keep the profile moving. Look at Anthony Joshua. He took two small paydays in Jermaine Franklin and Robert Helenius. Then, of course, moved on to Wallin and now Ngannou. That's 4 fights in 11 months. But those guys, Wilder wouldn't have taken the money that AJ made for Franklin and Helenius, because I'm not fighting for that kind of money. So that you end up sitting out for 18 months with no rounds and then get beat by Joseph Parker. Terence Crawford fights once a year. He's the best fighter in the sport. It's crazy. So there's a method to staying active, and you get the most amount of money. But those guys, you know, it's not just a case of us going in and signing Crawford and signing Boots. Like Boots against Cody Crawley is not a fight that's going to do great numbers. But Boots is a guy that could go on and rule the division. So you just got to be smart. There's a huge amount of fighters available in the marketplace from PBC. But it's not just a case of signing all of them and then not being able to honour your obligations to them, because that was the problem before.
And why do you think Tank was willing to negotiate with you for a counter bid fight, but not for the Devin Haney offer?
Well, he wasn't really willing to negotiate. He asked for an offer. We gave him an offer which was $10 million plus upside on gate and pay-per-view. I think he would have made around $20 million for that fight, but he didn't want to discuss it. And the problem is with a lot of these guys, they've got people in their ear that steer them away deliberately from other things for their own interests. So Tank Davis should be taking control of his own business, his own career, and having those conversations and those meetings. If he thinks Conor Benn is an easy fight for $20 million, I mean, I don't know what he's making to fight Frank Martin, but it is also up at 147 pounds, and maybe he's not comfortable up at 147 pounds. So, you know, but I want to see Tank get active as well. All these guys should be fighting 3 times a year.
Eddie, pretty difficult question for you, if you can be honest about it. Canelo's apparently leaving PBC, should be heading over to Matchroom. It's supposedly supposed to be like Berlanga and Munguia, as opposed to Benavidez and probably maybe a Jamal Charlo. In your opinion, a lot of people are saying that Canelo's taking the easier route. Do you think that Berlanga and Munguia is the easier route?
Let me tell you something about Canelo Alvarez. The most fearless fighter I've ever met. Trust me when I say Canelo Alvarez will fight anybody, right? He will fight Benavidez, he will fight Charlo, he will fight Munguia, he will fight Berlanga. What he wants is, he wants people that come to fight. What he doesn't want people to do is to come to survive. He was really disappointed with the Charlo fight because Charlo never come to fight. He never came to try and win the fight. And the problem with a fight against a brother, commercially it doesn't work, he probably won't come and try and win the fight either. Munguia is a guy that will come with everything to win that fight. He will put it on Canelo Alvarez, he will stand and fight with him. So will Berlanga, so will Benavidez. So in my opinion, what he doesn't want to do is fight Charlo. He's not interested in fighting Crawford. Crawford's a 147 pounder that's going to move around and try and box in and out of, like, he wants to fight Munguia, Benavidez, Berlanga. He wants to fight young fighters that come to win. So from our position, there's nothing done with Matchroom with Canelo Alvarez. We talk all the time. It would be an honour to bring him back to Matchroom and Doesnt. We're going to certainly try to do so. But at the moment, we're just talking. But for everybody that says, oh, he's trying to avoid, look at his resume. He's never avoided anybody. And when he fights Benavidez, which I'm sure he does, that is a huge fight. And we would be happy to talk to Benavidez and try and make that fight with Canelo Alvarez. But what he wants right now is he wants a planned schedule, because clearly he's been messed around. And he wants to get back to fighting and knowing he's fighting. Not doing one fight and then the goalposts move and then the opponents move. You know, let's get him back, finishing his career as strong as possible, as what he is, the greatest fighter of our generation.
If you throw him in there.
Listen, the Munguia fight is a really big fight, really big fight. It does tremendous numbers. Really, in honesty, Berlanga probably would ideally have one more to convince you guys that that is a real credible fight. But I'll tell you something about Edgar Berlanga. Mexico, Puerto Rico, he will come in the middle of the ring and he will fight Canelo Alvarez and he will give you a great fight. I cannot deny that the Munguia fight right now, commercially, is a big fight.